If you've ever wondered why you feel energized and happy one week and anxious, ragey, or completely overwhelmed the next, you're not imagining this. And there is a real biological pattern behind this, which I call the PMDD Mood Map. Women with cycle related mood changes travel through 5 predictable stops every single month, and understanding these phases is the first step in getting off of the emotional roller coaster. Hi, I'm Jess. I'm a clinical nutritionist who specializes in women's mental health. And today I want to share with you my PMDD Mood Map, which is a simple way to visualize the emotional pattern that women with PMDD experience across the menstrual cycle. So we're going to lightning round through each one of these phases so that you can understand not just what's going on with your hormones across your cycle, but more importantly, what's happening to your brain chemistry during each one of these phases. So let's get into it. Okay, first up is menstruation reset. All right, the menstruation reset. So this is when you start your period, which most of you probably know, and estrogen and progesterone, pretty much all of your hormones, are pretty much at their lowest. As a result of this, both serotonin and dopamine levels are also low. So for many women, this phase is kind of a mix of relief and fatigue. They have relief from the emotional roller coaster of the previous week. So you may also be more tired, a little bit slower, and more withdrawn still as your body resets for the new cycle. This is often described as the calm after the storm. All right, now we're going to start working our way up into the feel-good follicular phase. So this is generally after your period ends and estrogen levels start to rise. And what's important about this is as estrogen levels rise, it boosts the activity of 2 brain chemicals. So it starts to boost serotonin, which is going to promote happiness, but like a calm, happy, emotional stability, resilience to stress. But a lot of people don't know that estrogen actually helps with dopamine as well. So this is when you start to feel an enhancement in motivation, focus, drive, and energy. So most women with PMDD describe this as their most balanced phase. And you might know what's next. It is our Superwoman ovulation peak. All right, Superwoman ovulation. This is personally my favorite time. So a lot of people know that at ovulation, estrogen is peaking, but this is actually kind of the one and only time of the month where females also get a slight testosterone surge as well. So this is really where you get that peak dopamine activity. So that peak energy, motivation, confidence, risk taking. And then, of course, with testosterone, we get that increased drive, libido, assertiveness, but also the sociability as well. So this is definitely when I like to be out and about and engaging with people. So this is your Superwoman window. You're more social, you're more driven, and in my opinion, totally magnetic. All right, and now that we've peaked, we get to go down into our early luteal phase shifts here. Let's talk about early luteal phase shifts. This is honestly probably one of the most complex phases on the mood map. And this is why it's called luteal phase shifts, because it's going to be slightly different for each person. So after ovulation, progesterone begins to rise. And progesterone activates GABA receptors, and GABA is your calming and inhibitory neurotransmitter. So it's meant to promote relaxation, quiet the nervous system. And for some women, this works beautifully and they feel really grounded during this time. But women with PMDD have been shown to have abnormal sensitivity at the GABA receptors. So what does this mean? It means that For women with PMDD, their brains may not interpret progesterone's calming messages in the way that it's supposed to. So instead of feeling relaxed, you can start to feel uneasy, foggy, moody, or emotionally unstable. This doesn't happen for everyone. For some people, they don't really get these shifts until the next phase. But for some, they describe this as the I feel off, but can't quite explain why phase of their cycle. So if you have any kind of progesterone sensitivity, then things can start to shift for you as soon as the luteal phase. All right, last but certainly not the favorite is the late luteal phase crash. So the late luteal crash, this is classically the worst PMDD week or PMS week, but I really want you to understand why. So as estrogen and progesterone sharply drop, so do your neurotransmitters, okay? So serotonin starts to drop, which may contribute to low mood, sadness, hopelessness, overwhelm, and then dopamine as well. So you're gonna feel less motivated, more fatigued, emotionally withdrawn. But at the same time, GABA signaling, which we just talked about, can become more dysregulated. So the spectrum of GABA signaling for everyone's going to be a little bit different, but this can contribute to heightened anxiety, irritability, panic, restlessness, even insomnia. So for multiple reasons, serotonin, dopamine, but also GABA as well, this is a classic emotional crash women with PMDD dread every single month. So those are the 5 phases of the PMDD mood map. In theory, the follicular phase, the first half of the cycle, is often what people refer to as the feel-good window because estrogen is rising, serotonin and dopamine come back online, and the mood is stable. But as you just saw, in reality, for many women with PMDD, that window is actually a lot smaller than it looks on paper, right? It's really the luteal phase rise and then the ovulation. So some women tell me that they really only feel good about 5 to 7 days per cycle. And that's not a lot of time to feel like yourself. So if you're interested in learning how to actually support this process from a biochemical level as naturally as possible, what that means is basically using nutrients and lifestyle strategies that support all of those neurotransmitters that correlate with each one of those hormones that we broke down, I highly recommend that you go watch this video I'm going to link up here. And this is where I walk you through my full 3-step system called the mood balance method. This is a science-backed approach to stabilizing mood naturally using nutrition, targeting neurotransmitters, and making specific cycle-based adjustments. So hopefully I'll see you in that one.